Ladies and gentlemen, today we will continue watching the sequel to the movie. Although it is called a sequel, it tells the story of what happened before the monster appeared, and it is perfectly related to the previous one. The story begins with an exploration operation in 1982. Three members of the Norwegian test station detected a strange signal in the South Pole. Under the guidance of the explorers, the snowmobile kept approaching the signal source. Stop! According to the intensity of the signal detected by the equipment, they are now on top of that thing. The snowdrift suddenly lost balance and fell to the bottom of the glacier. As the crack became narrower and narrower, the snowdrift was soon stuck between the glaciers. When the headlights lit up the depths of the crack, the three finally saw what was below. It was a huge metal object. 2 days later, an ancient biologist at Columbia University, Kate, was invited by a famous expert, Dr. Sander. Her self-assigned Norway team made a major discovery in Antarctica, hoping that Kite would follow him to the lab. As usual, Kite needs to know the information about the objects first, but the doctor is only willing to reveal that they found a structure and some ancient biological samples. Considering the doctor's position and authority in the industry, Kite decided to accept the invitation to go to Antarctica. The next day, the three of them took a helicopter to Antarctica, which is 15,000 kilometers away. Kite just got off the plane and didn't have time to rest, so he was immediately sent on a snowmobile to the excavation site. This made him realize that what the test team found was not simple. When the three people arrived at the destination, they found that the ice layer here had been blown away. As they passed through the narrow passage, they finally saw what was hidden under the South Pole. It was a huge UFO. According to the rough calculations of the science team, it froze for at least 100,000 years in the South Pole, and what the explorers detected was some kind of distress signal. We think the signal got triggered when the survivor exited the craft. Survivor? Under the leadership of the warrior, the three came to the second excavation site not far from the ship. Directly below the ice layer, you can see some kind of frozen creature. Even the Kite, who has seen a lot, has been frozen and unable to speak. They immediately returned to the lab to discuss how to completely extract the creature from the ice layer. At this time, there were 15 people gathered here, including 6 members of the US investigation team and 9 members of the Norwegian lab. To make it easier to remember, we will still use plants to call them. The next morning, they brought back the creature from the ice layer. Kite divided it into details and prepared to pack it into small pieces and transport it back for research. But at this time, the doctor insisted that she should first collect some samples for testing. Kite thought it was very dangerous. Professional equipment has not been transported yet. In case this creature carries unknown viruses, the consequences will be unimaginable. When the doctor heard this, he called Kite out alone. He contributed to the research of the entire science team, so he wanted Kite to figure out who their father was. Finally, with the help of the doctor, the geologist used an ordinary electrode to drill a small hole in the ice. The doctor successfully obtained the sample he wanted. After the test results came out, everyone on site may have won the Nobel Prize for this. It's just that at this point, no one realized why there was an air gun in the ice that had been frozen for 100,000 years. The biggest possibility is that the creatures in it were still active after being frozen. Soon after, the doctor announced the test results and confirmed that the creatures in the ice layer did not belong to Earth. This discovery will leave them in the lurch. So then everyone started to celebrate. Most of these Norwegians have learned English, so it's not a big deal to communicate with them. Only the tutor, Lars, can't speak English. The madness lasted until late at night. When the co-pilot came out to the bathroom, he heard a strange sound in the warehouse. He carefully walked over to check. The ice cubes looked fine. Boom! Jesus, screw you, man! The co-pilot doesn't know who peed in his pants and is about to go back to the bedroom to change it. The alien creature broke through the ice layer and ran away directly from the roof. The co-pilot quickly ran back to report. At first, others thought it was a prank, but when they saw the co-pilot's face was blackened, they realized it wasn't a joke. They rushed into the warehouse immediately and found that the alien was gone. This had a great impact on their spirits. Who would have thought that a creature frozen for 100,000 years could still come to life? The doctor immediately ordered a team of 3 to search the entire PAMP. They must not let the thief, Nobel Prize, escape. The driver, Carter, and 3 others first found something strange. The door to the helicopter cabin was opened, but no aliens were found inside. The doctor and 3 others came to the doghouse and found that the school dog inside was also missing. Only a large piece of blood was left on the ground. And then there were the researchers who really won the prize. They found something moving slowly under a wooden house. The investigator told him not to go there, but the researcher had to get close to see it clearly. I didn't expect it to be that alien. The researcher was dragged into the room. The detective immediately called for help and soon called the others over. They took out their guns and started shooting, hoping to save the researcher, but the bullets didn't seem to work on the alien, and he wanted to run away again. Carter threw the gas canister over and then lit up the wooden house with the alien. Because of the shock just now, the detective's condition was a bit bad. but the doctor suggested that the alien should be dissected before it rots. Otherwise, the Nobel Prize would be gone. It's just that Carter suddenly came in and interrupted the doctor's words. They saw how dangerous the alien was just now. The safest way is to burn it completely. The negotiator situation is not good. He plans to send people to the hospital for treatment early tomorrow. However, the battlefield is sponsored by the doctor. He can't disobey the order of his father. So he still moved the remnant of the alien into the house. Let the doctor dissect him. As he opened the burned outer shell, the researcher who had been pushed in for half a day showed up. Such a sacred scene made Juliet feel sick and ran out. As the doctor cut open the membrane covering the researcher, he found that his body was almost integrated with the alien. And it was only a few minutes from him being dragged in to the alien being burned. This means that aliens have a special ability to digest. As the dissection continues, Kite has a new discovery. She found a tablet in the alien's stomach. The geologist told her that it was put on the alien after the researcher shot his arm last year. So if this was in his arm, what's it doing out of him now? Kite came to the first conclusion. Aliens will swallow humans, then it will excrete all the inorganic materials. Then she tested the researcher's tissue sample and found that the alien cells were still alive. After approaching the researcher's cells, they will quickly swallow them and then become exactly the same cells. This made Kite come to the second conclusion. Aliens can imitate humans on the cell level. However, Dr. Adams' assistant thought he was hallucinating after seeing this scene. The next morning, Carter and the co-pilot and another pilot were preparing to send the observer to the hospital. He looked very bad. Carter didn't put it on his mind, but when he went to the bathroom to wash his hands, he found a few metal particles on the ground. This should be the filling material used to repair teeth. Then Carter found a lot of blood in the bathroom. Combined with yesterday's research, he immediately came to a terrible conclusion. Some of them have already been replaced, and this person is likely to be Detective. Kite rushed out immediately, trying to stop the copter from leaving, and Kite quickly noticed her gesture. The co-pilot told her not to worry too much and to leave quickly, but Kite hesitated for a while and decided to land and go back to ask what happened. As the copter began to land slowly, the face of Detective in the cabin became more and more ugly, and then the body couldn't help but tremble. But it was not him who turned into a monster, but the pilot opposite him. In the next second, the pilot's body cracked open, and he rushed up towards the probe, and then the copter lost control and eventually crashed into an iceberg not far from there. In this way, the pilot and the probe all landed, and Kite and the co-pilot were dead. Next, the captain asked the communicator for help, ready to go to the iceberg to save the survivors, but was stopped by the doctor. He thought he shouldn't let more people in, otherwise their discoveries might be taken away. But things have developed to this point, and the captain is no longer going to follow orders. He told the team to pack up and prepare to evacuate, but Kite came in and interrupted them. I don't think that's a good idea. And why is that? Because no one can leave this camp until we know more about what's going on here. I make the decisions about this camp. I know, Edward, but why did you flak down that helicopter? Because I thought it was in danger. Why? Kite said her discovery last night. Aliens have replaced some of them. If the monster enters human society, the consequences will be unimaginable. It sounds too absurd. The captain asked Adam for evidence, but he claimed he didn't see anything. Kite wanted to prove it with those tonics, but when she went back to the bathroom, she found that the blood in the bathroom had been cleaned up. This further confirmed that the monster was hiding among them. However, because there was no evidence, the captain decided to continue to evacuate. Julie also stayed behind to complain to Kite. She claimed that after the chase, she saw the communicator coming out of the bathroom, and she was holding some kind of cleaning tool in her hand. Just when the two were whispering, the communicator suddenly appeared behind her. She had packed her things and was ready to leave. Kite realized that she couldn't let anyone leave the camp. I know where they keep the keys for the vehicles. Kite was brought to the storage room by Juliet, and the key was in the drawer. He hurried up to look for it, but at this moment, Juliet behind him made a strange noise. Kite turned his head in panic and found that Juliet's chest was split open, turning into a huge mouth. He hurried back to the storage room and blocked Juliet. It was finally a successful escape. The geologist heard the sound and came out to check, but before he could react, he was killed by the chasing Juliet. After Kite got the door, the others also rushed to the door. Hearing the voices of the good people outside, they finally realized that Kite was telling the truth. At this time, the trainer also rushed to the door, and he carried the strongest weapon in the whole story, the gun. As Kite slowly opened the door, the trainer fired and hit the monster. After his constant burning, the monster soon fell to the ground and made no sound. For safety, they dragged the monster into the snow and completely disintegrated it. In this way, Julie and the geographer chose to get off the line and witnessed the terrifying scene, which made the players more determined to evacuate. But Kite told them that once they take action alone or enter a closed car, they are more likely to be attacked by the monster. What they should do now is to destroy all the escape traffic tools and then find the monster lurking among them. Dr. Jones proposed a way of identification. As long as the blood of the monster is put together with them, it will react to the blood that is not infected. So everyone split up and broke all the transportation tools. This is when the trainer calls Kite over. It turns out that he still has a whole box of grenades. This will pose a huge threat to the epidemic. Just as they were preparing to go back to the house for testing, two shadows slowly walked over. It turned out to be Kite and the co-pilot. The co-pilot raised his weapon and wanted to hit them. It's impossible for a human to fight a crash. Put me on the ground, you're Peter. Kite decides to leave them alone and lock them up for a while before she finds a chance to identify them. However, when she locks them up in the wooden house, she sees a big fire in the science station. It turns out that someone burned the aliens' bodies and wanted to stop them from identifying the lurking monster. But even so, Kite has a second way. Monsters will reject inorganic materials.